Hi all, today we are going to discuss about two transistor model of SCR. So the regenerative or latching action due to positive feedback can be easily explained using a two transistor model of SCR when compared to the analysis made in the last class. I have already discussed it there. So the SCR it can be taken as equivalent to a PNP and the NPN transistor connected in the regenerative or positive feedback mode. So to understand this, I can take the transistor. This is my SCR. So in the SCR, so this SCR, because it is made up of the 4 layers. So this is P plus layer, that means heavily doped P region, and the N region is lightly doped. Another P region is there moderately doped, and another last layer or the N region, that is heavily doped region. So we take the terminals from the top and the bottom layer. So the top layer are connected to P, that is called as the anode, whichever is connected to the N plus region, that we call as the cathode, and the internal P region, so that we call it as a gate. So gate is connected here. So generally in the forward bias condition, forward bias means this P plus is connected to positive terminal, this N plus is connected to negative terminal. That means cathode is connected to negative terminal, anode is connected to positive terminal. We tell that it is forward biased. Let us take for example when Vg is equal to 0. So in that case we can see here, because this terminal A is positive with respect to cathode, or otherwise we can tell that the entire voltage that is given will drop across the different barrier junctions, because this junction J1, J2, J3 will have the barrier width. So across them this entire voltage will be applied. So if the P layer is positive with respect to the N layer, because you can see here this plus is coming here, plus minus will drop. So P and N, so this will be forward biased. So junction J1 is forward biased. Similarly, if you come to the junction J3, when compared to this N plus layer, P region is positive. So that's why junction J3 is also forward biased. Now coming to the junction J2, so this N layer is positive with respect to the P layer. That means it is reverse biased. So because of the reverse bias, what happens? The barrier will be formed here, and the barrier width, how much width of the barrier will be there, that mainly depends on the value or how much value of the EA you are applying. Up to here I hope it is clear to you. So this entire SCR I can represent in the form of the two transistors. So for that what we are doing, I am just dividing in the center for the center two layers. So when I am dividing them, I can connect like this. This is P plus, N minus and P. Again this N minus and P, this N minus P. Actually internally they are connected, N minus P, and this is N plus. So again remember here this junction is reverse biased, this junction is forward biased. Similarly this junction is reverse biased, it is forward biased, and the gate is connected here. The gate terminal is connected here. So this I can represent as, this is the transistor PNP. Out of this transistor PNP, which terminal we have to take as the emitter? Because we know that the emitter will be heavily doped when compared to base and the collector in SCR. So in the transistor, so this P plus will act as the emitter. And for this transistor, you can see this N region is heavily doped. So this will act as the emitter. So same thing I have represented PNP transistor. Arrow is represented at the emitter. It is PNP. Arrow is representing inside. That means the current that is supplied from this terminal, that we call it as the emitter. Let us take the transistor as T1. So current will be, this is emitter current. This emitter current will divide into two parts. One is the base current and another one is the collector current. I hope it is clear to you. Then now this N minus region is connected to N plus, because this is nothing but emitter, base and collector. So here it is emitter, base and collector. So you can tell that this base is connected to the collector. This base is connected to collector of second transistor. Similarly, this collector of the first transistor is connected to base of the second transistor. Collector of the first transistor is connected to base of second transistor. Again here also the emitter current is the sum of base current plus collector current. As this is an NPN transistor, that's why current direction is opposite to this one. Because in this case IE is entering, IBIC leaving. Here IE is leaving, IBIC is entering, because it is NPN transistor. So let us assume they have the gain factor. Let us assume this is having a gain factor of alpha 1. This is having a gain factor of alpha 2. So let us try to understand the concept. So before proceeding further, first let us see the behavior of a transistor. So in a transistor, when you are varying the base current, that means when you are varying the current that is supplied to the base, how this will start behaving. So to understand that, I am representing the current here. This is IB, IE and IC. Let us assume alpha is the common base current gain and beta is the common emitter current gain. Or we can tell that the value of IC will be equal to alpha times of IE plus ICBO. ICBO is the collector to base That means because we know the collector to base junction is reverse biased. So across this reverse bias junction some leakage current will pass. So that leakage current I am representing by ICBO. Some leakage current will be there because of the minority carriers plus alpha times of IE. So now if you take any transistor, the transistor will operate in 3 modes. So first mode will be, it will operate in cut off region, and then comes to active region, and second comes to the saturation region. So that I am representing here saturation region. So in the cutoff region, the value of IC will be equal to only ICBO, and in the saturation region the value of IC will be equal to IE, because leakage current will not be there, because all the barrier width, this barrier will break down because it will act as a closed switch. So IC will be equal to IE, and in the active region the value of IC will be equal to some alpha times of IE plus ICBO, because in the active region this junction will be reverse biased and this junction is forward biased. It will act this one. So to correlate or to write in a generalized way, we can tell that in the case of cutoff region, because this is disappeared here, so this I can represent by representing alpha is equal to 0, and in the active region alpha is having some magnitude, and in the saturation region IC is equal to IE, or we can tell the value of alpha becomes equal to 1, or we can tell that when the transistor is shifted from the cutoff region to saturation region, the value of alpha is changed from some extremely small value to the value equal to 1. That means the alpha value will change gradually from some value, some small value to the value 1. So from the cutoff region, or this I can represent like this, it depends on the emitter current. As the emitter current is increasing, the value of the alpha changes from 0 to 1. Still some of you will have the doubt how the alpha is changing. Alpha should be constant. So that I am explaining using the another procedure. So you can see here I have represented this PNP transistor like this one. This is N, P and N layer. So this junction is reverse biased. So that's why there is a barrier is formed there. The charges are there. So only current that can pass is between the base and the collector. Between the base and the collector there will be some leakage current. So let us assume I have supplied some base voltage. Whenever I apply the base voltage, you can see here this base is applied across this PN. So this is nothing but this PN junction is forward biased. So automatically some base current will pass. Because of application of this voltage across this one, so the electrons will pass from this N plus region to P region, and from P region to N region holes will pass. Agree with me? But as this N plus region is heavily doped, as it is heavily doped when compared to the P region, as well as the barrier, that means size of the width of this region is also more, so more carriers will diffuse from this N plus region to P region. So out of the carriers that are diffused into P region, some carriers will come out as an IB, that means base current, because this is the conventional current direction or positive current direction. I am discussing about electrons. Electron will jump from here to here, some will pass through this IB, and some carriers what they will do, because from here to here, because they are the minority carriers, so they will pass from this P region to N minus region as a leakage current similar to that of ICBO. That means this direction of ICBO I have represented arrow, actually it is an electron current, remember this one. That means actual current direction will be like this. So it will pass from this emitter, it will pass from the collector like this, getting it? So now when the electrons are jumping from this region to this region, the recombination happens with these positive charges. So when the recombination happens, what will happen to the barrier width? The barrier width will decrease. So when the barrier width is decreased, so for a given applied voltage, when the barrier width is less, automatically the current that is passing from the emitter to the collector will increase. So what we observe from here, when the base current is increased, this barrier width is decreased. The base current is increased, barrier width is decreased. So the current that is passing from the emitter to collector is increased. Or we can tell that both emitter current is also increased, collector current is also increased, but the value of the alpha, which is the ratio of IC by IE, that depends on the barrier width. So lesser the barrier width, more will be the value of the alpha. Like I have told you here, under saturation condition, the barrier is equal to 0. So automatically IC becomes IE, or we can tell that alpha is equal to 1. In the cutoff region, only ICBO is there. We can tell that relationship is equal to 0. And in the active region, it will have some value. So that's why we can conclude that if by doing some methodology, if we can gradually or continuously increase the value of IB, then in that case the barrier width will goes on decreasing gradually and the value of alpha will goes on increasing. That means the transistor will change from the cutoff region to active region to the saturation region. So same thing curve I have represented here. So with these basics I am proceeding further. Now you will understand the remaining derivation. So again I am going back. So if you are taking this SCR, so the SCR, the IA, and here from here the gate current IG is supplied. So the cathode current will be equal to gate current plus anode current when you are seeing as an SCR. Now coming to the internal circuit, you can see here if you are taking the transistor T1, this IE1 is divided as IB1 and IC1. So same this IB1 is nothing but equal to IC2. Similarly, this IC1 is given this to IB2. This IC1 is connected to IB2 and this IE2 is nothing but equal to IK and IE1 is nothing but equal to IA, anode current. So now I can represent the value of IC as alpha times of IE plus ICBO. I have already told this. This is collector to base leakage current and alpha is the current gain. So current gain. So I can tell that first transistor it will be IC1 is equal to alpha 1 times of IA plus ICBO1 and similarly IC2 will be alpha 2 times of IK plus ICBO2 and similarly we got the current IK is equal to gate current plus the anode current. So those are the currents that are supplied externally. So now applying the KVL at this junction of the first transistor. So we can tell this anode current is dividing into two currents IC1 and IB1, agree with me. So same thing I have written here IC1 plus IB1. What is IB1? This IB1 is nothing but equal to IC2. So we can write this as IC1 plus IC2 or we can tell the value of IA will be equal to alpha 1 times of IA because IC1 from this formula I am substituting here. Alpha 1 times of IA plus ICBO1 plus alpha 2 times of IK plus ICBO2. Again we know the value of IK is nothing but equal to IG plus IA. So same thing I have substituted here IG plus IA. So here left hand side IA is there, here also one IA is there, here also one IA is there. Or we can tell that when you are bringing this to the second side, this will become IA times of 1 minus of alpha 1 plus alpha 2 is equal to. So in the second side what will be there? Alpha 2 times of IG, alpha 2 times of IG plus ICBO1 plus ICBO2. ICBO1 plus ICBO2. So IA will be equal to, that will divide here. So this will be 1 minus alpha 1 plus alpha 2. So here you can observe that IA is equal to this one divided by this one. So by doing sum means if we can make the sum of alpha 1 plus alpha 2 is equal to 1. So in that case 1 minus 1, what is 1 minus 1 is equal to 0. That means IA will approach to infinite. Then the thyristor will act as a closed switch. Thyristor will act as a closed switch. So you will get out the IA is equal to infinite, the SCR will burn. It will not burn. Actually in practice the current IA is limited by the load resistance because it is connected across some load only. That load resistance will limit this current. So now how it will operate? So now if you are applying some external pulse IG, so under normal condition if nothing is applied because all the currents are zero, only some small leakage current is there. Because of the small leakage current the regenerative action is not possible. So it will not come to the operating condition unless the leakage current is very high. So now whenever some gate current is applied, what will happen? So when the gate current IG is suddenly applied, let us assume it is changed from 0 to 1 ampere. So automatically this IE is supplied to this base only. So this IB2 is equal to IG now because IC1 because initially is equal to 0. So when this IB2 is given, so automatically the value of this IE2 increases or IK increases because this IB2 is passing through this one because this is the junction forward biased junction. So when the value of this IE2 or IK is increased, I have already proved before that the barrier width will decrease or we can tell that the alpha 2 of this transistor T2 will increase. When the alpha will increase, automatically what happens? IC2 increases. So IC2 is increased here. So this IC2 is nothing but equal to IB1. That means IB1 is increased. When IB1 is increased, automatically this IE1 increases and IC1 increases, or we can tell that as IE is increased, automatically the alpha 1 will increase. So we can tell that alpha 1 is also increased. So we can tell that in one loop the value of alpha 1 and alpha 2 are increased from the current value to some higher value. So in this process again that same current is supplied here. So now the current will be equal to IB2 will be equal to IG plus IC1. So IG plus IC1 you are giving, again that means the base current is increased further. So automatically alpha will increase further. So in that way, both the alpha 1 and alpha 2 are going on increasing. Here you have to remember this alpha 1 will vary with IA is equal to IE, because here IA is equal to IE or IE1. But this alpha 2 will vary with the cathode current, that is IK is equal to IA plus IG, the current that is supplied from here plus IG. So both the alpha 1 or alpha 2 are increasing. So in this process, whenever this alpha 1 and alpha 2, this will reach is equal to 1. In that case, the thyristor will turn on. The thyristor will turn on. This is one way of analyzing. So let us see the basic and simplified way. Instead of confusing and all these things, I will explain in another procedure. So another procedure, you can see that here this is IC1, IB1. So this is connected like this. So this is connected in a loop. So now let us see what will happen. When the gate voltage is equal to 0, I am taking the ideal case to explain the second method. So IG is equal to 0. When IG is equal to 0, because ideal case IC1, all these are initially relaxed. They don't have any current. So IB2 is equal to 0. When base current is equal to 0, no current will go to IC, because IC2 is equal to beta times of IB2. Because since the value of IC is equal to beta times of IB, I can explain in this way. So IC2 is equal to 0. When IC2 is equal to 0, that means IB1 is equal to 0. When IB1 is equal to 0, IC1 is equal to 0. That means all the currents are equal to 0. Because we know the value of IE is the sum of IC plus IB. Both are 0, so automatically IE or IA is equal to 0, as well as the cathode current is equal to 0. So we can tell that both the transistor T1 and T2 are in the cutoff state, or we can tell that SCR is turned off under this condition. So now if some gate pulse is applied or the gate voltage is applied, so in that case VG is not equal to 0. So obviously IG is not equal to 0. So automatically whatever IG is given, that IG will be entering here as IB2. So we can tell that IB2 is equal to IG. So what is the value of IC2? IC2 will be equal to, because initially it will be beta 2 times of IB2. Beta 2 times of IB2. So automatically we know that this IC2 is nothing but equal to IB1. So same thing I have mentioned here, IB1 is equal to IC2 is equal to beta 2 times of IB2. That is what we got. So now IC1 will be equal to beta times of IB1. What is beta times of IB1? IB1 is beta 2 times of IB2. So that's why IC1 will be equal to beta 1 multiplied by beta 2 multiplied by IB2. So this IC1 is obtained as beta 1 multiplied by beta 2 multiplied by IB2. So what is the value of IB2 now? Because the new value of IB2, so the new value of IB2 will be sum of the gate current plus IC1. Agree with me? IC1 plus IG. So this new value, so we can represent that with the new value, this will be equal to, so IC1 is beta 1 multiplied by beta 2 multiplied by IB2, plus I have to add IG also. So when you are adding this one, so this will be equal to beta 1 beta 2 plus 1 times of IG. So you can see here, when compared to previous case, IB2 is equal to IG. Now it become beta 1 beta 2 plus 1 times of IG. It increased drastically. So now IC increases drastically. Again, when IC is increased, so automatically this IB1 is increased, and this is a cumulative action. This current will increase to such an extent that the barrier width, that means the junction J2, will completely vanish because of the recombination, and both the transistor will enter into the saturation region. Both the transistors will enter into the saturation region. That means base collector junction will be forward biased for both the regions because of the disappeared, because the junction layer will disappear because of this current. So because of this one, as the both transistors are turned on or both transistors went to the saturation region, the meaning of this one is the SCR is turned on. So in this way also you can understand if you are confusing with the previous one. I hope the two transistor analogy of the SCR is completely clear to you. If you still have any queries, you can leave your comments in the comment section below. I will answer to your queries from there. Thank you very much.